What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to talk about Keyforge going over to Thailand. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Thailand have got Keyforge decks now, and they are being printed in the native language. As just a bit of an aside here, if anybody watching this is over in Thailand or has access to Thai decks and is able to hook me up with a couple, if you'd be so kind as to tweet me at the Wossy or email me at ptcgradio@hotmail.co.uk, or I suppose just respond to, just this video in the comment section, I'd really like to pick up a couple of Thai decks. So it's expanding into Thailand, but it's expanded into a bunch of countries. So why are we talking about Thailand? And the answer is, there's been some mistranslations, and I thought this was a nice, interesting topic to have a bit of a chat about. Now, if anybody's expecting a big rant about how this is unacceptable, no, sorry ladies and gentlemen, not happening here. Firstly, I'm too positive a dude. Secondly, new games, new countries, new translations, it happens. Also, incidentally, it seems that it wasn't the fault of Fantasy Flight Games, but their partner in Thailand. But the thing is, it's happened, and everyone knows it's happened, and it's a bit sad, but it's going to be fixed in the future. And anybody that wants to rant about how a couple cards being mistranslated is unacceptable, Slowking. Now, for those that are unaware of the story, Slowking was a card that came out and had to be banned in the Pokemon trading card game because it, and I'm not exaggerating, literally broke the game. So Slowking from Neo Genesis was printed in Japan with the text, "If this is your active Pokemon, whenever your opponent plays a trainer card, you may flip a coin. If heads, the card does nothing." The problem is, it was translated in English without it needing to be your active Pokemon. Without getting too deep into the nuances of Pokemon for those that are unfamiliar, you can only attack with your active Pokemon, and this was a bad attacker, so in Japan, people took one look at it and went, it's a terrible attacker, it's not worth playing. The problem is, outside of Japan, you could put 4 of these on your bench, attack with something else, and your opponent had to flip 4 heads in a row to play each trainer card. And generally speaking, your deck would be, let's say, 25 to 35 trainer cards, depending on the deck. It just ruined games. You had a 1 in 16 chance of playing any of your trainer cards. It broke the game so completely that it literally had to be banned because it ruined the entire game. Now, this was back in the days when it was actually being run by Wizards of the Coast, and when Wizards of the Coast, working with the Pokemon brand, can mistranslate a card that completely breaks the game, I don't think we can be particularly outraged about a couple cards being mistranslated during the very first expansion being launched in Thailand. Incidentally, there was a similar story with a Final Fantasy trading card game recently, where it turned out a few cards had been mistranslated from Japanese to English, and nobody had even noticed, because there just wasn't that overlap in the player base. So, with all that borne in mind, these Thai cards, what are they, and what are the translations? So starting off then, we've got Untamed Ambassador. Now, this is one of the sillier mistranslations here. Untamed Ambassador is supposed to read, "When you fight or reap, you may play or use an untamed card this turn." But it has in fact been translated as, "When you fight or reap, you may play or use a Shadows card this turn." Well, clearly, the Untamed Ambassador is going to let you play an extra untamed card. That's literally the entire point of Untamed Ambassador. So, I would think this would be a fairly easy one to get around. Sell Win the Fence should say, "When you fight or reap, you move 1 amber from one of your cards to your pool." The Thai text reads, "When you fight or reap, move 1 amber from one of your creature cards to your pool." Generally speaking, this is so that when you've got captured amber, think something like charette, for instance, you can move it to your pool and keep it, because remember, if your creatures have amber on and are destroyed, your opponent gets the amber. This one doesn't make a huge difference. It means if you've got amber on an artifact or an upgrade, you can't move it. But I'm going to be honest with you, this one's not a particularly huge deal, ladies and gentlemen. Calfine should deal 2 damage to each neighbour of the creature it fights before the fight. Actually deals 5 damage. Now, this is kind of really good for Calfine, because generally speaking, we've got a pair of cards. We've got Bingle Bang Bang, and we've got Calfine. Bingle Bang Bang is a 2-power creature that deals 5 to the neighbours of the creature it's attacking, and Calfine is a 5-power creature that deals 2 to each of the neighbours of the creature it's attacking. So allowing Calfine to do 5 to each of the neighbours, while still being a 5-power creature, yeah, that makes it a whole heap better. Although, to be fair, this one does seem very understandable. This seems like a fairly easy mistake to make. Martian Hounds. When you play it, you choose a creature. For each damaged creature, you give the chosen creature 2+1 power counters. I've got decks with Martian Hounds in. I'm going to be honest with you, I have never got this working. It's a phenomenal card. I've never got it working. Like, ever. The Thai text, choose a creature. For each damaged creature, give the chosen creature a single +1 power counter. So it literally just makes Martian Hounds half as good. It's not a huge problem, because I've never got Martian Hounds working. Although if you do get Martian Hounds working, then it becomes a huge problem, because at that point, yeah, it's a much worse card. Total Recall. Total Recall, the original text, for each friendly ready creature, gain 1 amber. Return each friendly creature to your hand. The Thai text, for each friendly creature, gain 1 amber, return each friendly creature to your hand. This becomes so much better because you basically get a free amber for every creature you can play. Because you play it straight down, then you play Total Recall to get the amber, then you pick them up and you can just play them straight back down again. The whole point about Total Recall is they've got to be ready so that when you pick them up with Total Recall, you get the amber, but then you play them down and they're not ready unless you've actually got a Dusk Witch stuck, which that just never happens. Possible, but your opponent always just goes after it. So essentially, you give up the opportunity to use the creature, but you gain an extra amber with Total Recall, so it's totally worth it. Ha! Did you recall what I did there? This just makes it like 1,000,000,000 times better. Mindworm, the original text, before the fight, the creature Mindworm fights deals damage equal to its powers to each of its neighbours. The Thai text, the creature Mindworm fights deals damage equal to its power to one of its neighbours. Obviously, this makes it much worse. What you're really looking for with something like Mindwarp is Lollop the Titanic, whereby it's an 11-power creature, so you fight Lollop the Titanic, and then do 11 power to each of Lollop's neighbours. If you're playing with the Thai version, you only do 11 damage to one of its neighbours. Still a decent effect, but literally half as good. Just like with Martian Hounds, literally half as good. And finally, Exterminate. Exterminate. For each friendly Mars creature you control, destroy a non-Mars creature with lower power. Whereas the Thai text, for each friendly Mars creature you control, destroy a non-Mars creature equal to the highest power. I think that's what it says. The translation in the Facebook group is not 100% clear. As a side note, huge shout out to Beaver Hunter, who did post this in the Facebook group so that I could use it. That makes me very, very happy indeed. Now, I believe that Errata'd have already been issued for these. It is a little bit sad, I'll grant you that, but other games have done far worse. Seriously, Slowking broke the Pokemon trading card game completely. It literally broke the entire game, because you couldn't play the game anymore because everyone just played multiple Slowking. You basically won by getting your Slowking out faster than your opponent so that they then couldn't get their Slowking out. It was ridiculous. Now, people have suggested various fixes. Obviously, when the game first launched, there were some decks that had, let's say, less than ideal names, and they did just get replaced with 2 other decks. Problem is, that was flagged up when you tried to scan the deck in to the official website, app, etc. That's not going to be picked up so easily here. Maybe there's a way that they can essentially flag any decks that have been scanned in and email the people that scanned them in and let them know that they can have a replacement. Maybe an errata will just fix the issue. The thing to remember is that this is still a very new game. It's expanding into other countries, and yeah, okay, we'd rather things like this didn't happen, but by the same token, Keyforge is being printed in Thailand in the Thai language. I play multiple other TCGs, and the only one being printed in Thai is a Pokemon trading card game, which did start being printed in Thai, was either earlier this year or last year. So about 20 years after the game launched, yeah, made its way over to Thailand. Keyforge has done it in less than 1. I think that's a much, much cooler story. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me what you think about this story. Tell me what you think the best fix would be. Go nuts in the comment section, but please do remember to be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about Keyforge and whatever other games take my fancy. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.